Do you have low ferritin? You might not know because most doctors don't even check it. And if you're struggling with common symptoms of low ferritin, like fatigue or hair loss, it's often dismissed as just stress or aging. But here's the thing, you can't fix these problems at the root cause if you're ignoring your iron reserves. In fact, research shows hair regrowth is nearly impossible if your ferritin is below 50. So how do you finally raise those stubborn low levels? In this video, I'm showing you exactly what ferritin does in the body, why your levels are low, and the step-by-step process you can use to optimize your iron reserves and finally feel like yourself again. I help people get to the root cause of symptoms like chronic fatigue and hair loss every day, which, more often than not, leads us straight to low ferritin. Over the past 15 years, I've seen incredible shifts in my clients' energy and mood just by getting their levels into the optimal range. But before we get into the steps to boost those low levels, we need to get on the same page about what ferritin actually is and why your doctor might be missing it. Let's dive in. Most people think that measuring iron and ferritin are the same thing. They aren't. Think of your iron like the cash in your wallet. It's what you're using right now to get things done. Specifically, making red blood cells to carry oxygen to every cell and system of your body. Ferritin, on the other hand, is like your savings account. It's a protein that stores iron in your cells and releases it only when your body needs more. We need this protein because free iron is actually toxic to your cells. It's highly reactive and can cause oxidative stress. So your body buffers it by binding it up in this ferritin vault. When we measure ferritin in your blood, we aren't looking at the iron you're using now, we're looking at your backup stash. Here is where most people get stuck. You can have a normal iron test, meaning you have enough cash in your wallet to survive today, but your savings account is completely empty. We call this latent iron depletion. And when that savings account is empty, your body starts budgeting. It stops sending resources to non-essential things. Let's talk about what that actually feels like. First, there's the hair loss. This is one of the most common things that I see. Your body is smart. It knows that you don't need a full head of hair to survive, but you do need oxygen for your heart and lungs. When iron stores drop, the body redirects those minerals away from the hair follicles. The growth phase of your hair shortens. More hair enters the shedding phase, and suddenly you're seeing way more hair in the shower drain than usual. Then there's the fatigue and weakness. This isn't just, I didn't sleep well tired. This is a cellular fatigue. Because iron is a key component of hemoglobin, which carries oxygen, low stores mean your mitochondria, the power plants of your cells, simply can't produce energy efficiently. You feel like you're running on a low battery that never fully charges. Finally, there's the anxiety and brain fog. Your brain is an oxygen-hungry organ. But even more than that, iron is a cofactor for creating neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. When your ferritin is low, your brain chemistry can shift, leading to that tired but wired feeling, unexplained irritability, or a complete lack of focus. I've had clients whose chronic anxiety almost completely resolved once we got their ferritin above 70. Your doctor might say a ferritin level of 11 or 15 is normal, but in functional medicine, we look for optimal. If you want to regrow hair, you're shooting for a level of at least 50. If you have thyroid issues, your thyroid hormones actually need iron to convert into their active form. Without a ferritin level of at least 70, you might still feel hypothyroid, even if your other labs look fine. If you haven't had your levels checked yet, you need to ask for a ferritin test specifically. If you just ask for an iron test, your doctor will likely only check your serum iron. You could walk away thinking you're perfectly healthy, while your iron savings account is effectively at zero. You can ask your primary care provider to order a ferritin blood lab. I suggest telling them, I'm experiencing chronic fatigue and hair loss, and I'd like to check my ferritin levels to see my iron reserves. If you're in the US and your doctor won't order it, you can probably order your own lab work through various online services. I know keeping track of these lab ranges and knowing what to ask for can be confusing. To make it easy, I've put the optimal biomarkers and the exact test that I recommend in my free Ferritin Boosting Checklist. I'll link that below for you so that you can grab your copy. Now we have to ask the big question, why is your tank empty? There are three main reasons why ferritin stays low. Reason number one, chronic iron loss. A healthy adult loses about 1 milligram of iron a day, naturally through skin cells and the digestive tract. But if you're a menstruating woman, you're losing significantly more, anywhere from 20 to 60 milligrams per cycle. If you have heavy periods, you're essentially bleeding out your iron stores faster than you can replace them. But it's not just periods. Pregnancy and childbirth are massive iron drain events. And interestingly, so is high-impact exercise. Activities like long-distance running can cause something called foot strike hemolysis, where the physical impact actually ruptures red blood cells in the feet. Even high-impact drumming, like playing the congas, can do this. Anything that causes microtrauma to blood cells forces your body to dip into its ferritin reserves to rebuild them. Reason number 2, the absorption problem. Even if you're eating iron, your iron reserves might not be invited to the party. There are 2 types of dietary iron: heme iron from animal products and non-heme iron from plants. Your body can absorb about 30% of heme iron, but only about 2 to 10% of plant-based iron. This is why it's incredibly difficult to correct a ferritin deficiency through diet alone, especially if you don't eat organ meats like liver. Reason number 3, hidden blockers. This is where people get the most frustrated. They take iron, but their levels don't budge. First, let's talk about antacids and PPIs. Your stomach needs to be highly acidic. We're talking a pH of 1.5 to 3 to absorb iron. Acid is what converts the iron you eat into a form that your small intestine can actually grab. If you're taking Tums, Pepcid, or Nexium for heartburn, you're neutralizing that acid. You might stop the burn, but you're also effectively turning off your ability to absorb iron, calcium, and B12. It's a trade-off that leads to long-term depletion. Then there's H. pylori. This is a very common bacteria that lives in the stomach lining. H. pylori is a competitor for your nutrients. It actually needs iron to survive and multiply, so it steals it from you. But it's even craftier than that. H. pylori produces an enzyme called urease that neutralizes your stomach acid so the bacteria can survive in your stomach. So it steals your iron and it turns off the acid you need to absorb more. If you have a stubborn low ferritin that won't go up with supplements, testing for H. pylori is a non-negotiable next step. I've got options for at-home H. pylori testing in the free checklist, so be sure to grab your copy. If your levels are low, you need to be strategic. Here's the 3-step protocol to refill your ferritin vault. Step 1, the right supplement. Forget the ferrous sulfate that you see at the grocery store. It's poorly absorbed and usually causes constipation or black stools, which is just a sign that the iron is sitting in your gut rather than entering your blood. Instead, look for chelated iron, specifically iron bisglycinate. Chelated means the iron is attached to an amino acid, which helps it bypass some of the absorption blockers in your gut. It's also much gentler on the stomach. And you should always take iron with vitamin C. Vitamin C chemically changes the iron into a specific form that your intestinal transporters recognize, boosting absorption. Step 2, optimize the environment. If you have low stomach acid, which often shows up as bloating or feeling like food just sits in your stomach, you might need to supplement with betaine HCl or digestive enzymes with your iron-rich meals. This recreates that acidic spark needed to break the iron down so it's ready for transport. Step 3, support the doorman bacteria. Our gut microbiome plays a huge role in mineral transport. When it comes to iron, there's a specific strain called Lactobacillus plantarum that is especially helpful. Clinical studies have shown that this probiotic can increase iron absorption by up to 50%. I think of it as a doorman that stands at the entrance of your intestinal cells and helps usher in the iron molecules through the door. If you're wondering which specific brands or products I recommend, I've listed all of my ferritin-building favorites in that free Ferritin Boosting Checklist. Low ferritin is frustrating because it makes you feel like a shell of yourself. But because your labs look normal to a standard doctor, you start to feel like the symptoms are all in your head. I'm here to tell you they aren't. Your body is just running on an empty tank. To make your ferritin boosting journey easy, go grab that free checklist. I've put everything we talked about today into one simple PDF. The optimal ranges, the best food sources, the hidden blockers to watch out for, and the exact supplement protocol I use with my clients. You can find the link right down in the description. Download that now, and let's get your energy and your hair back. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.